you, Stacy. And good morning, boys and girls.
It's the Leaning Tower of Cheesa.
Talk to me, baby.
Perfect cast. Don't let him fool you with that buddy act now. Under your thumb.
Your favorite papa. You're just jealous, man, because you ain't got the moves.
Hello, and welcome back to A Goofy Movie Minute, the podcast where we go through a goofy movie, individual minutes, talk about them here on that podcast. My name is Nathan, and Brianne is not here. She is out in the world doing something pretty exciting and getting things ready for a big announcement we have to make in a couple weeks. We've been talking back and forth, and it's led to a few delays, but once you see what we have coming up, I think you're going to be really excited to know. It's just an exciting opportunity we've been given, and she's out there working at the details now. So today you've just got me, the solo host of A Goofy Movie Minute, and it's going to be a shorter minute as well. Well, the minute will be exactly 60 seconds, but the podcast will be a little bit shorter. I should have clarified that. So minute 37, it begins with Max and PJ continuing their conversation, finishing it up. Max says, "There's only one person who doesn't know about it, Peach." And he says, "Who?" And then Max says, "My dad." Nothing really to say here, but there is some nice detail on the edge of the door, the trailer door there, and some good art direction. Next, we cut to the roof of the RV. There's a pool-style ladder, which Goofy and Pete are using to hop up on there. And one thing we were talking about in the last minute was the staircase inside the RV, the impractically large storage-having staircase that looked like, by all accounts, would be going up to the roof, because there's no second floor on the RV. However, there is no staircase up on the roof. You have to take a ladder, dangerous ladder, up around the side. If there is a staircase, it must be hidden under the alley itself. Is that a possibility? So now we get to a scene where Goofy and Pete are discussing parenting, and this is the first time we've really heard them talking about it since back at the photo studio when Pete first suggested taking a trip in the great outdoors to strengthen the bond between father and son. Now, when he asks Goofy how things are going with the boy, he says, "I don't know, everything I try to do is driving him further away. Maybe I ought to just back off, I don't know." And then Pete does a pretty hilarious eye roll / cross-eye thing where he goes, "Wrong, Goof." His pupils are massive in this scene. And then he gives him his ethos on parenting, which is if you keep them under your thumb, they'll never end up in the gutter. And as he says that, he bowls. And does he get a strike? Almost, I would say. But when Goofy points this out, Pete is enraged. And so he shakes the entire forest, yelling. PJ comes up, kicks over the pin, and then Pete proceeds to have a victory while Max and Goofy look on kind of in some sort of shock, or it looks a little bit sad to see a grown man flip out so much over his strike, which he did not earn. Some of the details that I really like in this scene are the forest is like a beautiful Bob Ross painting. You can see all kinds of details over in the trees. And now that they're on the roof, it really is a nice place to enjoy the outdoors. When Pete calls PJ up, there's military-style snare drumming, indicating the authoritarian relationship he has with his son. And then PJ runs right on the bowling lane, which you should not do, according to every bowling lane I've ever seen. It's supposed to be highly slippery, and it's also bad for the lane. And also, he didn't have to, because there's room on the side. He didn't have to do that. But it's mostly a danger. He could fall, and his only son could have a head injury then. Now, after Pete gets the fake strike and is in his celebratory dance, he does offer his son a high five, which he indicates by saying, "High five, son." But then he does a psych, pulls the hand away, and PJ is very sad. He's got the saddest little doe eyes. He's Charlie Browning it up with the hung head, and it doesn't take a family therapist to see that this is not a good way for them to interact. No. Well, I mean, Goofy and Max also don't have a good way to interact, so I guess that's just how things go when you have a teenager. So the problem with Max and Goofy is it seems like a lot of their stuff would be age specific to Max's adolescence. But the way that Pete treats PJ, it doesn't seem like you'd ever grow out of that. It's a bad way to act. Even as a full-grown adult, you'd be hard pressed to like appreciate what he's doing as a parent there. Some other good details I really like is Pete is a lot hairier than PJ. PJ is smooth fur, I suppose, but it's like a short hair, sleek. You can't see any straggles. Whereas Pete's got the big hairy arms, even though supposedly they're both cats. Maybe he's more of like a like I don't know, a rough-looking alley cat. And PJ's just like a sleek kitten. As we mentioned in the previous episode, Pete has a scoring table that's sitting up in the corner, so he can do manual scoring of his bowling games. It looks pretty comfy. But after he gets the strike, it's not there earlier in the minute, but it's there at the end. He gets a fancy, probably alcoholic drink appears on the table. And I have to think that, well, it doesn't have automatic scoring, I don't think. But somehow the house knew that it was time for a celebration because of the strike. And that's where that drink came from. Just full of good details. The pocket on the back of the scoring seat has magazines in it. I don't know why. I just think that they would have had to have based it on a real seat of some sort, putting those magazines in there. It's not even a good place to get to a magazine. I feel like you'd throw out your back if you tried to reach back there and yank it out. But similarly, the ball return on the bowling ball has a little compartment on it, a little door for, I guess, maintenance. Either somebody in the art department has fantastic foresight for the anticipated maintenance of a animated bowling ball return, or it's based on a real bowling ball return, and they did not leave the details out, because this is not a movie about abstraction. It's a movie about real examples of items, particularly. Relationships, too. So Pete has this bowling alley on the roof of his RV, and he doesn't really seem to have any friends. Perhaps he does, but I don't know if you've ever been bowling by yourself. It's not as much fun as bowling with other people. It's very quick to bowl a game, actually. When I've been bowling by myself, I often try to kill time by, I don't know, checking my phone or taking a trip to the vending machine to see what's in there, because you just burn through your game. You need to take breaths. You don't have any reason to ever stop standing by the ball return. Certainly no relaxation or anything. You could take a sip of a frosty beverage, I suppose, every once in a while. But a lot of the stuff that Pete has in his RV here seems like would be a lot more fun with people. Or you do like lap swimming by yourself, I suppose, play basketball by yourself. Not so much. Hang out in a hot tub. I don't know. Some of those can be kind of enjoyable solitary, but I think that it's very much the materialistic capitalist lifestyle that Pete's living, that he doesn't need the connection of others. Or I would gather that when he's thinking of these different things he'd like to have, they probably would like to have people around while he does them, but buying things doesn't give you people. And that's Skymall's whole system is, well, look at this party ice chest. It's on wheels and it's made of stainless steel. And it's like, all right, well, then when I have my friends over, they'll say, I'm going to grab a drink out of that stainless steel ice chest. So cool. Good job, Pete. Thanks. Good ice chest you got. And he'll be like, yep. That was nothing. Got it at the, well, never mind where I got it. They'll think. And then by then they've got the drink and they're not listening anymore. So, those kinds of rewards, if you need it for something you're already doing, you're already hanging out with people, everyone, why, Pete, why are the drinks so warm? I don't want to walk all the way into your house every time to get a drink out of the fridge, Pete. Jeez. Then, maybe get a nice, or better friends, maybe. Ice chest or better friends, I'd say. Either will solve that problem. But if you're hoping that the ice chest will bring the people, no, it's the tail wagging the dog or cat in this case, and not, even though he doesn't have a tail. Just a rag sticking out of the back of his pants. Well, was this minute a little bit perfunctory? Did I just burn through it? Yes, I did, and here's why. The minutes have to be done in order. And right now, Brianne's not here, and we have to get this one done. And this one actually doesn't have that much to talk about. It's not that great of a minute, but we wanted to have a little something there for you to listen to. So you don't go, what happened? I don't want to get emails saying, what happened between minutes 36 and 38? The story makes no sense now, and my head is hurting. I can't understand how we, jumped through time like this. This is to solve that problem for you. And also, I just can't tell you how excited we are for our new partner, the new thing that we're doing that I can't give all the details here. No, it's a secret for now. But when we get that done, I think we're going to have a lot of new things. You're going to hear it right away in the episode that we've got, I don't know, some power behind us. Does that make sense? Like the genie in Aladdin, we got power in our corner now. So hopefully that all works out. I can't wait to show you what it is next time. And I'm going to read from that book thing. Reading from A Goofy Movie Book by Hughes. All right, picking up at the last scene. Roxanne, the kids in school, everybody in town. They all thought he'd be appearing on TV with Powerline. Only one person didn't know about it. His dad. On the roof of the camper, Pete stood in front of a bowling lane. So, Goofy, how are things with Max? Goofy shrugged. Everything I try drives us further apart. Maybe I should just back off. Wrong, Goof. Pete cracked his knuckles, getting ready to bowl. You've got to keep kids under your thumb. Goofy checked his thumb. There was nothing there. Then he understood what Pete meant. You have to watch kids every step of the way. You have to be tough. Pete picked up the ball and hurled it down the lane. 9 pins fell, 1 was left. Watch this, Pete told Goofy. This is how to do it. PJ, he called. An instant later, PJ stood by his side. Max followed behind, much more slowly. Here, sir, said PJ. Pete glanced at Goofy. Watch and learn, he mouthed. Oh. Then he pointed down the alley. Immediately, PJ ran to the standing pin and kicked it down. Strike, shouted Pete, laughing. Say, Goof, why don't you stay for... I think that's the end. I thought Goofy would get the under your thumb analogy a little bit faster, not have to have literally look under his thumb. Well, what did that do? I know the under my thumb like the back of my hand, personally. Anyway, have you ever bought something that you thought would bring your friends closer together, but it didn't? Give us an email at agoofymovieminute@gmail.com and tell us all about it. Or like our Facebook. And I actually do like our Facebook because we're going to have a competition at some point soon where we give away a signed figure of Goofy, signed by everyone here at A Goofy Movie Minute, namely Brianne and myself. So thanks for checking out this short solo episode of A Goofy Movie Minute. Tune back in for a big announcement, big surprise, I hope. And until then, we will see you later on The Perfect Podcast. And remember, if you keep them under your thumb, they'll never end up in the gutter. Strikeola. Ta-ta. A Goofy Movie Minute is not endorsed by Walt Disney Pictures, Walt Disney Television Animation, or Disney Toon Studios. The podcast is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. A Goofy Movie and all names, characters, images, and audio are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. You can get in contact with the podcast creators at agoofymovieminute@gmail.com. The minute-by-minute podcast format was created by Alex Robinson and Pete the Retailer of Star Wars Minute. You can find that podcast at starwarsminute.com.